Hey everypony, Newleaf here, and today we are here to rewind the past year. There have been so many things that we've done, so many milestones that we've reached, so many awesome games that we've played, and so many awesome experiences that we've gotten to have as well. So everypony, just like last year, I will be counting down the 10 favorite games that I've gotten to play over this past year, what I liked about them, and we'll see what we do for the next year, everybody. I have a few things planned for this year, a few milestones, and a few experimental things too, so stay to the end for that, because some of them are going to be pretty unexpected, everypony. It's one of those things I never thought we'd be doing, but here we are, everypony. This is what I do, you know. So at number 10, we have Scoots Hard DX, which is a sort of shooter game. What impressed me about this one, it is the first one of its kind. It is a 3D shooter with ponies, but not only that, but we're actually in the universe of the Rainbow Factory, one of the most ancient and almost like, I don't want to say old because it sounds bad, one of the more known fan fictions, and to top it all off, that's a crossover with Doom, which is another game I never played, so this was a completely different breath of fresh air, and at the same time it felt so intriguing. The controls felt smooth, you know, the jumping around, the shooting and all. It definitely felt like a game that is, you know, very easy to pick up despite me being completely new to a lot of the things here. I got to pick it up quickly, it felt smooth to play, and it also had a very interesting story with, you know, Scootaloo trying to fight against what is supposedly Rainbow Dash, and also got you a little bit interested into the actual fanfic, everypony, which you really should read if you haven't already. But yeah, if you want a game that follows this fanfiction while also experiencing something completely new, I cannot stress anymore how awesome this game was. So at rank number 9, we have a RPG kind of game that's really impressed me. I rewatched some of the footage again, and I have to say, this story was probably some of the best and most unique stuff that we have ever seen. Basically, you know, the Shadow Bolts that we get to see in episode 1, we never know much about those, but this is something entirely different because these 4 ponies that go on this story sort of become Luna's, I don't want to say minions, but working for her, and at the same time, you learn a little bit more about the sisters, about the crisis in Equestria, and they also had a very compelling battling system too. It felt very balanced, and at the same time, you sort of felt a lot of freedom. You had a lot of choice in what you did, and exploration was rewarded. And they also put a lot of Easter eggs, like the Terminator thingy. There was a lot of hard work put into this, and it especially showed when you were playing this, and it was absolutely a nice thing to play. And considering how many questionable RPGs that we've seen on this channel, this was definitely one of the more memorable, everybody, but it is not the only one on this list. Spoilers. At number 8, we have an old classic, Legends of Equestria, a game that has also been with us for many, many years. We've gotten to see development, but this year, I think, has been very special for this game, because we've seen a lot of improvements in usability, a lot of skills came to the game, and it allowed you to, you know, just do so much more than just running around. You could farm, you could mine, there's a whole new area that you can explore, a whole new dungeon. And that just makes it a little bit more intricate to discover everything that they have, level up your pony, and explore Equestria. And every pony, I will tell you this much, there is going to be a series soon where we're going to be doing something a little bit different in this game, but you'll see, this is going to be an interesting thing. But on the topic of this game, it's also super immersive. Like, if you ever wanted what it's like to be a pony in Equestria and running around and, you know, doing pony things, this game is about your best bet to, you know, get to that point. And it's an absolute must-have. It even has an online version, a mobile version, and it's completely free, so why not check it out and see how much pony you can be. At number 7, we have Dead Space 2, a game that we've played earlier this year. It was probably one of my favorite space horror games this year. I didn't include Dead Space 3 because we technically didn't finish that one yet, so we can't really say much about that for now. But Dead Space 2 was totally amazing. It had scares, it had good story, and I also felt out of the 3 Dead Spaces, it felt like the most cohesive to play. It had the most simple gameplay. It had a proper save mechanic. It didn't have some of the weird mechanics that they introduced in the third game, while also still giving you a super compelling story. And the game was actually super challenging too. Like if you thought this the third game that we're playing right now is sort of easy too, I think is a little bit more on the tougher side. And at the same time, of course, it has a lot of puzzles. And if you've watched the playthrough of mine, there's been a lot of deaths because of puzzles, and it really does give you just so much to do in a single space game. But we are going to see some more space horror this year, from what I hear. On number 6, we have Harmony Eclipsed, one that we're sort of playing right now, but we also seen a full playthrough of the previous update. What made this RPG stand out so much to me was the original story. I mean, we get to see Luna and Celestia, their backstory. We even have them as active characters, mind you, something I've never seen in any other of these games. We get Sombra coming back. He starts possessing certain ponies. Even Twilight becoming a villain at some point. We didn't even see Twilight's alter ego in any games. And especially we learned some of the relationships, like we, don't just learn, hey, Luna became evil at some point and that was it, but because we learn a lot more about the feelings, about the fear, that Luna even had some friend that she believed in, and how basically King Sombra turned all of that against her. And it's really allowing you to see a lot of, emotions, and it really makes you, it really immerses you into the story, and you get a lot more feeling for the Alicorns. And to me, that's always been a personal peeve of mine in the show, is we don't see that much of the Alicorns, what their life was like, except for Twilight because of, the show surrounding her. But the other Alicorns, we don't usually get to see much, and this game is definitely on a quest to make sure that we know all about them, every pony. That's a personal pony thing I very much approve of. So, breaking into the top 5, we have an old classic that has also been around for many years, and that is still getting updates as we speak. It's gonna get one more. Ponyvania, the Castlevania and Pony crossover. That is very challenging. But it does have this right amount of challenging, and yet you keep keep playing. It has 3 difficulties for beginners, as well as those who like a little bit of rough times like me, and it is surprisingly to see, because you have those different kinds of classes. I think it's 5 and gonna be 6 soon, and yet as all of them you still will have a balanced situation where you can learn the game. It definitely also compels you to play this in all classes, because it's such a different game, and yet at the same time you can still play it. It's challenging, you get a good story, you get so many different boss fights, and it allows a lot of customization every pony. And having a game that allows you this much freedom in how you play your characters and still gives you a proper, feel for the difficulty, and yet still allows you to have fun while doing it is something special. And there are some things we didn't even showcase in this game, and we're going to be seeing them when the 6th class comes around, every pony. At number 4, we have what I consider to be the best RPG that we've played on the channel throughout this entire year. Now, this one has the main 6, which, at first glance seems almost a little bit generic, but then the story is completely original. We learn about Night Moon and Rarity, which is something no pony ever touched on. And what makes this one really shiny compared to every other RPG under the sun that we've seen so far is a proper combat system. We even have a quest system, every pony. You can do side quests in this one. It gives you so much more to do, and you'll never feel lost in this game, be like, okay, where am I supposed to go now? What am I supposed to do? This game is gonna, tell you what to do while still remaining relatively challenging throughout the boss fights, and that does really make it a little bit of an easier experience versus some of the other ones that we played. Especially the healing system was also something that I thought they did well, because you could buy individual gear and all that, and it just made it a little bit more immersive, I say, because I think if there's one thing that I like in a good RPG is if you, think of the player when they're playing it, and try to get them to play the game and get them through your game, get them to enjoy your game and get to see all of it. And this game absolutely understands how that is done, which is why it is up here. Busting into the top 3, we have Fallout 3 that we played earlier this game. This was probably one of my more surprising experiences, because at first I thought, this game is super old, how can this be exciting? But then we get to play it, and it was actually really amazing. I liked the different amount of guns that we had, the quests, were well done. You had a lot of freedom versus Vegas, which is not on this list because Vegas was a little weird with invisible walls and whatnot. But Fallout 3 especially had a great story. You know, you have to find your father, who's basically lost in the desert. You're set out to find him. Versus, I'm a mailman and I'm out for vengeance. Everyone, it's a little bit of a weaker one, but this is what I thought made Fallout 3 a little more awesome. Is there was a lot more purpose for you to going out and doing all these things, and that just makes for a little bit more of a better story, and for an overall better experience when you're trying to play this game. And Fallout 3 is definitely one of those. If you've overlooked this one, give it a shot. You'll not be disappointed. At number 2, we have a game that is technically not ponies, but it is inspired by ponies. It is Them's Fighting Herds. One of the more amazing fighting simulators that I have ever played. As someone who's grown up with Super Smash Melee, but then I, played Fighting as Magic, and that game was super hard, no tutorial, and everything, and I kind of, lost interest. But then this game comes around, gives you an amazing tutorial to actually, learn the game, you get good at the game, you have a good story that follows around Arizona, and I think there's gonna be more chapters as well. You have 6 or 7 very compelling characters that even have, like, their own written out background stories in every pony. If you've never played any fighting games like this with combos and all, this is a good one to pick up and learn. And of course, we all know this was inspired by the original Main 6, and what can I say? This is definitely a blast to the past, and what can I say? This is easily one of those games that can get you hooked even if you've never played anything in this genre, and that to me makes it an amazing game. And the winner of this year has to be the pony card game, Tales of Equestria. Couldn't decide if it's the first or second one, but they both proved something important to us. That there can always be a new format for ponies, a completely new card game with ponies, new rules, new system, and yet despite all of this, it was all cohesive, it made sense, it is something easy to get into, you can learn the game, and you can have fun while doing it, and to me that is a good card game, is if the rules are simple and yet you can get into this. And this is easily one of these that I can imagine, like if you're at a meetup and you had physical hard copies of those cards, you'd be able to play others with this, and that'd be absolutely amazing. And of course they made it into stories as well. I think the first one even had like a little story with Vinyl Scratch and Octavian something, and that really made it interesting. It is absolutely unique. Like if you like card games and ponies, and this is something to pick up. And personal story, I've never played Yu-Gi-Oh before, but this card game sort of is what inspired me to pick up Yu-Gi-Oh, and I really loved it as well. So if you like card games, pick this up. It is an absolute blast. Unfortunately, we won't be hearing much from this game for a while, but what can I say? Enjoy what they made. It is still amazing, and support the ponies behind it, because that stuff is amazing, I tell you. And this concludes our top 10 for the previous year. What do you think? Do you have some games we overseen? Put them in the comments if you think so. And for this next year, I decided to do a little bit more co-op. I want to integrate more ponies from the Discord, because we do have a lot of games that have that, like Stardew Valley. You may be seeing some pony coming along for a ride in an episode. We may also be doing a lot more board games and something like that. We, of course, started our Minecraft server, which you're also welcome to join in, and just give a lot more ponies the chance to interact, because I think that is an important thing, and I do enjoy the fact of, hanging out with you ponies, sharing cider and memories and all that, and I think that's awesome. So then I can unleash another surprise that is in the waitings. So you know what VTubers are, right? That have these little heads and moving things, and I found someone who does this for ponies, and I'm gonna try to commission them to do a pony version of me, see if they do it, and if we can have that, that'll be amazing. Imagine having a pony face while, we're playing video games and all that. That would be amazing. If that happens, you're gonna see it on this channel. It'll be absolutely amazing. And of course the versus format, another one of those that we haven't done so much. I want to do that a little bit more, find a game that we can do it with and see how it goes, because I think that brings a whole new level of enjoyment to a game, and also adds a little bit of competitiveness to it, and that does always make for a new experience, and of course is entertaining to see, and sort of is almost like a dare, but with, some pony to see you do it. And we're probably going to see some more specials with cooking and whatnot, but I won't be spilling too many beans about what those may be, so you'll see. Alright, everybody, but I suppose with that, I thank all you lovely ponies so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. And remember, every pony, If you're going into a new year, remember to give yourself some goals, something to look forward to so you'll be motivated. Also, if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and you'll be notified whenever there's a new video. And there's new stuff here every single day, including a pony wishes you a very amazing 2022.